Hello there, Calling Up Community. I'm Claudia Alec, and today we will be reflecting on former President Barack Obama's comments at the Obama Foundation event last Tuesday, where he said several things. The idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly. The world is messy, there are ambiguities. People who do really good stuff have flaws. People who you are fighting may love their kids and share certain things with you. He also talked about something about young people on college campuses. There's a sense that the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people, and that's enough. And that's activism. And he says that's not activism. That's not bringing about change. And he also talks about, people using the wrong verb on Twitter. So let's talk about what he's talking about. First thing I'd like to call out, and I'm going to call it out, is Obama's narrowed the playing field. He's talking about very specific instances. So I would say in a pool of people using the call out in ways that are actually productive and having outcomes of justice, he's ignoring all of those. He's only taking some very specific examples to discuss. And I'm looking at the way his rhetoric is now being used and reused in conservative communication places. And generally it's being used to say all call-outs are unnecessary, unhelpful, immature, shouldn't be done. I don't think that's what Obama was saying. He was talking about performative call-outs. As we have said in Calling Up, the call-out is neutral. It can be done in ways that promote outcomes of justice. It can be done in ways that are very selfish and are about, being all performance and about yourself and getting just attention for yourself. And it can be done in ways that are really negative and are about actually doing a call down and trying to create outcomes of injustice. Ultimately, the call out can be done online, in real life. The call out can be done in writing. It can be done verbally. It can be done in real time, live, or it can be done asynchronously in a comment. The call out can exist in a lot of different ways. The call out can exist in something that's immediate, or it can exist in a long form article that you do reflecting on a practice. Ultimately, calling out is the first step to accountability in our cultures and communities. When I think about some of the smaller places, he talks about somebody like tweeting the wrong verb and then getting called out for that and that being a negative thing. And people aren't calling people out for using the wrong word. People are being called out because they are using language that is actively hurtful and harmful to people. And generally, the call out comes without consequence. It's simply informational. This entire cancel culture thing, it makes no sense to me. There is no such thing as cancel culture. I can't cancel you unless I'm your producer or I am your publisher. If I'm an audience member, I can't cancel you. I'm not in charge of that. All I can do is, reflect and critique. That's all any of us can do. And if enough of us reflect and critique enough stuff that says what you're doing is hurtful or harmful or distasteful to most of us, well, then the publisher or the producer gets to make a choice. They can cancel, we can't. I'm thinking about high school right now, because Obama also talks about purity politics, like that's even like a thing, right? But I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Obviously, no one is all good all the time, all bad all the time. But when I think of purity politics, I actually don't think of liberal circles. What I think are conservative circles. I grew up in Montana, y'all, where in high school, if somebody wanted to come out of the closet, it was dangerous. If you came out of the closet, possibly you were going to be disowned by your family. That's cancel culture. If you came out of the closet, possibly you would be harassed, physically harmed, to the point of possibly quitting school or trying to quit life. That's real. That's purity politics. That's cancel culture. Those are actual consequences that I think rise to the level of needing a former president of the United States to say, hey guys, watch out for that kind of stuff. Hey folks, those kinds of behaviors are not super helpful. I'm not sure what Obama was trying to accomplish in that particular speech act. So I took a moment, I took 2 hours and I watched the entire darn speech thing that he did at the foundation, along with all of the really terrible YouTube live tweeted comments next to it. Oy vey. So I got to read all those comments, got to watch it. Seems like this was extemporaneous speech. Like, he didn't write this. This wasn't like prepared remarks. This was him just going off the top of his dome, right? And ultimately, there's a portion of what he said that was useful. But unfortunately, he fell into the rhetorical trap of critiquing all call-outs, or at least sounding like he's critiquing all call-outs, when he was actually specifically critiquing performative call-outs. Call-outs that are not paired with actual action. Because ultimately, he's correct. If you are only being judgmental, if that's the only thing you're doing, actually, no, he's wrong. Because here's the truth of it. If I am in a space and somebody's doing hurtful or harmful behaviors, and the only action you do is to go, wow, that's wrong, that helps me feel safer in the space. He said it loud enough for everybody to hear. Everybody heard that. Maybe 5 or 6 other people went, you know what, that is wrong. Now, I know that I'm in a space where that might be the thing that is allowed in this space. But I also know there are a bunch of people who don't co-sign that. So actually, I'm going to support all my judgmental cousins out there. Go ahead, tweet away. I support you. And Obama, you didn't get it quite right this time.